I'll start my speech in three, two, one. Can I ask all of you to visualize something with me? Now, imagine being on a beach during the summer holidays, sunbathing under the blazing weather. How does that feel? Fun? Relaxing? You see, we humans are not wired to fear heat. We associate it with beaches, summer holidays, lotter under the sun. Heat feels harmless, pleasant even. And yet, it is quietly, mercilessly killing us. And there's two layers to this problem. Number one is awareness. You see, most of us underestimate heat. And to put this in perspective, in 2023 alone, Europe saw over 60,000 heat related deaths in a single summer. In British Columbia, Canada, a sudden heat dome killed 619 people in just 1 week, more than the triple region's average weekly death rate. And these aren't statistics. They are grandparents who couldn't cool down, workers with no respite, children in sweltering classrooms, people dying alone in homes without fans, without air conditioning, and without relief. And so we rightfully fear dramatic disasters, hurricanes, floods, school shootings. But why does heat slip past our notice? Last year, in the United States, extreme heat killed likely more than hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, school shootings, and gang violence combined. Globally, heat kills more than armed conflict and terrorism. So the deadliest climate threat is invisible to most. But ladies and gentlemen, it is here now. The second layer to this problem is inequity. You see, heat does not affect everyone equally. Low-income families, outdoor workers, the elderly, and marginalized communities are least able to adapt. They cannot afford air conditioning, work in warehouses or construction sites without shade or water, and live in neighborhoods dominated by concrete and asphalt rather than trees or parks. Cities designed without their needs in mind have become ovens for the vulnerable. And this isn't about discomfort. Scientifically speaking, at 42 degrees Celsius, your body begins to cook from the inside out. Your organs start to fail. And this is not a hyperbole. It's a brutal medical fact. And we have built our cities that amplify this danger. Concrete, asphalt, and glass trap heat, creating urban heat islands that can be 10 degrees hotter than surrounding green areas. And we've turned our metropolis into ovens for the poor, the elderly, and the outdoor workers. So the problem isn't just that we underestimate heat, it's that those who are most exposed often have no means to protect themselves. Awareness alone won't save lives. So to stop this silent killer, we must confront both the invisibility of the threat and the inequity of who suffers the most. So what do? We treat heat not as an inconvenience, not as a political talking point, but as a present day public health emergency. And the solution is twofold: adapt and transform. Firstly, adaptation. It needs to be swift, systematic, and unforgettable. We need a national response we can remember and demand. Let's call it the CARE framework. That is CARE. Number one, C, cool our cities. Laws to mandate cool, reflective roofs and pavements. A national initiative to achieve 30% tree canopy cover in our hottest urban zones. Trees are life support infrastructure. A, active emergency systems. Move beyond alerts to immobilization. Heat warnings must trigger automatic wellness checks and the opening of 24/7 cooling centers with medical support. Provide direct cooling assistance to the most vulnerable. R, regulate to protect workers. We need federal heat safety standards that guarantee paid rest breaks in shaded or cool areas, access to chilled water, and the presence of a certified heat safety officer on all large job sites. Last but not least, E, equip our health response, train first responders and doctors to treat heat illness, deploy mobile cooling units, and create heat-specific protocols in every hospital. Now, that's the first layer to the solution. The second layer is transforming for the future. Because adaptation is just a lifeboat. We must fix the hole in the ship. And this means three things. Number one, accelerating a just transition. We must triple investments in community solar and wind projects, ensuring the energy transition creates jobs in every community most impacted by heat. Number two is corporate accountability and smart policy. Implement a carbon fee and dividend, putting a price on pollution and returning the revenue directly to households, making clean energy the obvious economic choice while protecting low-income families. And number three, redesigning our habitat. Update building codes to mandate passive cooling designs like cross ventilation and green walls. Invest in water-sensitive urban designs that use parks and ponds as natural coolants. This is about building cities for people, not for cars and concrete. Now, I know what all of you might be thinking. With all this evidence, with all these solutions, why isn't it being done yet? We hear two main refrains from those in power, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, there's no funding. And this is a fallacy of accounting, not affordability. Because we find billions for disaster recovery after the crisis for flood damage, wildfire suppression, and healthcare for the sick. We are paying the massive reactive bill for suffering while claiming we can't afford the proactive investment that would prevent it. It is not a lack of money, it's a lack of priority. Number two, and more telling, heat is a low frequency political issue. It doesn't create a permanent crisis in the headlines. It spikes, fades, and gets shelved until next summer. And this allows it to be perpetually postponed. But this low frequency is a lethal illusion. The impacts, the deaths, the healthcare costs, the lost productivity are constant and accumulating. And the political silence is a choice to ignore the most vulnerable. So the core obstacle isn't feasibility, it's will. It's the lack of a constant loud demand making inaction unattendable. And that demand must come from us. We must be the voice that turns a seasonal footnote into a permanent, non negotiable priority. When they say we can't, we must show them the human cost and ask, how can you not? And this is precisely why your role is not passive. Your call to action is the mechanism to break this cycle. And there's three layers to this. Number one, vote with heat as your priority. In every election, ask one question. What is your specific funded plan to implement heat adaptation and clean energy transition? Nothing else matters if we cannot survive the weather. Number two, demand local action. Attend city council meetings. Push for urban forestry budgets, cool pavement pilot projects, and tenant right to cool ordinances. Number three, break the narrative of complacency. When you hear the indifference, respond with this truth. Heat is now more prolific killer than hurricanes and homicides combined. Our inaction is a policy choice. Let's choose to save lives instead. And so we have the knowledge, we have the technology, we have the moral responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to cool our cities, transform our energy, and protect every life at risk. Because these deaths are not caused by a conspiracy, they're caused by our own complacency. And that is the something we have the power to end, starting today. Thank you.